Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Awesemo.com. We're going to call this the NFL betting show. We're going to get a couple other things in there, but we're going to stick mostly to football. I am Ben Rasa. My man, Julian Edlow, joins me as he always does. Happy Friday, sir.
Happy Friday. Could be the end of NBA and potentially move on to the AL and NLCS here.
I know this could be it. Game 5 tonight. We're going to talk a little about that. We were talking before the show. I don't really have much to say. Like the bubbles theme, Julian, you've said this multiple times on this show. You kind of just run it back. The spreads don't change because there's no home field, no home court. And it's a little awkward to bet the game because you're just kind of replaying it.
There was so much more of an edge. I was doing so much better with it. And I'm not betting NBA that much, honestly, right now. As somebody that my top sport, I would say, is NBA during the regular season. Player props, quarters, halves, like there's edges all over the place. And now it's just like the same. Here you go. Here's Lakers Heat on a neutral court, 7.5. Here's Lakers Heat on a neutral court, 7.5. It's just, what are you going to do with that? Even in the bubble at the beginning on neutral, it was like, the Clippers trend coming off a loss or whatever, the Spurs first half. Like there were different things that were working and it's just not there. Do you think the Lakers are going to take care of them handily or not? Who knows?
Yeah, I not a hot take. I think they'll probably end it tonight, but I have no interest in laying those points. Maybe a player prop or two. But speaking of player props, I do want to talk a little about Thursday Night Football before we get into the 1, 4, and then the night games, which are we're adding night games seemingly by the hour in the NFL. But last night, your new boys, let one, I don't want to say they let it slip away, but they should have won that game. What did you make of the game? I saw you sweating, I believe, David Montgomery receptions, or was it the yardage he got over at the end there?
Yeah, so I made 2 small bets. A bigger bet I made was when Fournette was ruled in, I took Ronald Jones under 93.5 combined yards, which, those are my favorite type of bets to make, like the cheap ones, especially in NBA when guys get late scratched and you just take other guys to go over. Then we see that Fournette is actually just the emergency back, and I'm like, well, I might be kind of screwed here. So I hedged out to make it just a small bet, and obviously Jones looked fantastic and went way over. Montgomery, he had 6 receptions for whatever it was. Like,
it was like 10 yards.
Yeah, it was ridiculous, and his prop was 21.5, and then he finally got that wheel route to go over at the end, so that was nice. I didn't have any money on the actual game last night. And yet I feel like I lost big because I have Tampa over 7.5 and 8.5 wins from before and right as the Brady trade came through. I have Tampa plus 350 to win the division, which is still a great number, but that would have been a big win. And I have the Bears to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, that one.
And they're now the most fraudulent 4-1 team I've ever seen. They could have gone to 3-2 last night and finally started to get back towards 500 and maybe finish, 8-8 or be a 9-7 team that misses it. Now they're 4-1. It's going to be tough. I need them to really drop some games and start sucking. So for somebody that didn't bet the game last night, it couldn't have gone worse for me.
Yeah, I feel similar. I had a couple small positions on the game. I was with you. I took some shorting of Ronald Jones, which did not work out. My daily prop, which every day here at Awesemo, we're running out a cool new article where it's kind of just a daily prop of the day. We use Odd Shopper, which we're going to be using throughout the show. It was Anthony Miller yesterday, and I was really fortunate to get over the 2.5 because he barely played. And he was just luckily was able to snag, I think, 4 balls, but I actually felt like I kind of stole one there. That's not the game plan. I know Mooney was taking some snaps, but I didn't realize it would be that much. So felt and I was stunned. The penalties, my God. I thought the refs, not that it cost Tampa the game, I just thought they were bad overall last night.
Yeah, the refs weren't great. Obviously the hit on Foles to extend one of those late Bears drives was a tough call. The flags, the Bucs are so poorly coached. There's like no discipline there, and you can see how angry it makes Brady after playing on such a well-coached team for so long, and now he can't control his offense. And Bruce Arians has never been able to control his offense. He gets guys to put up big numbers, but they're just not disciplined, and it showed. So that's something you got to factor in when handicapping the Bucs. They are going to get flags. Chicago's not great either, but Tampa's awful.
They really caught. I mean, so many just plays that could have got off the field, should have got off the field. There was some, like I said, some questionable, some inexcusable. And listen, in the NFL, this is not like college football, which, not that you can't get nipped, but like if you're just better, you usually win out. In the NFL, if you are screwing around, you're just going to lose the game unless you're playing the Jets. And that was a game that both teams easily look at it. And when they look at the end of their schedules, they're going to say, we should have won that game. For the Bears, you say at 4-1, they're not a good team. I really believe that, but you know what? You are what your record says you are, as many have said in the past. And that's where we're at.
I don't know how I'm going to win this Bears to miss the playoffs bet.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be sitting there and probably try and make my money back by betting against them in their first playoff game because they don't deserve to be there. Correct. And then they'll pull out something miraculous for me.
Also correct. Yeah. Because especially in the NFC, because the East clearly is only getting one team. So like now the wild cards are only coming from 3 divisions.
Did you see so DraftKings has up an NFC East wins prop. Number of games won by the division winner excluding playoffs, and it's set at 8.5.
Yeah, that's what I would
minus 167 to the over.
Yeah, I mean, you would hope that the Cowboys, who
can get 9,
we'll talk about, would be able to do something, but my God, they should be 0-4.
Right.
It's pathetic, but enough about that. You want to get going here. You want to get to the slate itself.
Let's do it.
All right. So we got, we'll start with the Monday games, the Sunday 1 p.m. games. There's only 7 of them now. Obviously, Chad, as you guys know, there's a lot of moving parts. Games have been moved to Monday to Tuesday, and we're going to see what happens. But as of now, there are 7 games for the Sunday 1 p.m. slate. And I'm just going to start right off the top with I can't believe I'm going to say it's my favorite bet, but Bill O'Brien is gone. The Texans, they're on life support. Maybe you think they're already done, but they sit as a 5 to 5.5 point favorite against the Jaguars at home. Do you think we see kind of a resurgence from a team that obviously had turmoil inside the locker room?
You would like to think they bounce back. Trends point to teams not doing well the week after firing a coach. Romeo Crennel does not have a good record as a head coach. This is your favorite game.
It is.
I don't know. I don't think I can touch this game. It's a division game too, which also complicates it. The Jags are certainly trending in the wrong direction. You were on the right side with the Bengals. I played that one small last week. It shrunk down to 1. Once I saw the Bengals at -1, I was like, all right, fine, I'm in. You're like twisting my arm here to bet a Bengals-Jags game. I'll do it. But so Jacksonville has been handled by Cincy and Miami in back-to-back weeks. So that generally means you're not good. But they were impressive the first 2 weeks.
They were.
If you put a gun to my head, I'll bet Houston, but I don't know, man. Talk me into it.
It's just a situation where, listen, last week was very disappointing. The Vikings were not in the caliber of the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Ravens, who were the first 3 opponents. But at the same time, I think it's also a reasonable case to say that the Jaguars are not in the Vikings category either, that they're in a tier that the Texans have not seen. It's a situation for me where talent should trump the turmoil. Like the Texans have weapons. Watson, even on the defensive side, I don't think they're nearly as bad as they've shown. And Jacksonville is just bad. So it's more of a shorting of Jacksonville. And this spread, I'm not going to say the what if game, but again, if the schedule was juggled around, this would be 8.5, 9, like at home against the Jaguars. 5 points is enough for me to get on. It's now or never for the Texans. You don't win this game, I mean,
they're done.
They're so far done. It's
last
over.
Week was pretty now or never.
Absolutely.
Now it's actually now or never.
Now the other thing, and again, we were talking a little before the show. I do believe that the South, there is a chance that the division gets truly insane because the Titans have serious COVID situations. So listen, you get yourself to like 2-4. I don't know what could happen.
Right.
It starts with winning a game like this. 5 points is just, it's enough for me to lay and feel comfortable, as nearly not even close to a touchdown. So
the last time, do you want to talk about the AFC South for a second?
Absolutely.
I think it's an interesting, we've never seen anything like this. No. And the last time, when the division odds shut down and when win totals on that division shut down, the Titans were at like 9.5. They were like -140, -130 to win the division. I want to see where this should probably reopen, because it looks like we're going to get Tuesday Night Football with the Titans. I feel like we should start getting this stuff opening back up. And I think it's a great spot the Colts should definitely be favored to win the division at this point. And if they're anywhere near neck and neck with the Titans, I will be betting the Colts. I think it's also worth, last week Houston was plus 1,200 to win the division, and it got bet down to like plus 750 by the time they played that game. Now they lost. Are they going to be back on the board at plus 1,300, 1,400? Like, I'll sprinkle there and way more on the Colts and just fade the Titans here, because I think they're going to get heavily punished, and I think their season could definitely spiral from this a little bit. And then the other thing, like we've been talking about, if as we said it last week, if a Houston win total opens up somewhere, what do you think that's going to be at 0-4? It's definitely something I'm interested in playing the over on.
Yeah, it could be. I'm just guessing, but it could be in that 6.5, 7-ish range.
It was 7.5 before the season. It definitely can't be 7. 6.5 max. I feel like it could be 6.
6. Yeah, that's fair. I guess I just overrate. I don't know. There's something about this team that I can't quit, and it's just I don't like that division. First of all, the Jaguars, obviously, they're not making the winning the South, so it's like it's really a 2-team race, and then if you think the Texans can still get back in it, you're going to get good odds. But we have to wait and see. The Titans are on the edge, though. We were talking, and we'll get to those games at the end. Like, they have no room. They did not play last week. They used their fake bye. You have to play. If they don't play this week, I mean, then their season is in serious trouble, I would say.
And the other thing is like, the reason we've been so cautious, like the Patriots, it sounds like, are currently doing everything following full NFL protocol, and it's working. Stephon Gilmore apparently had dinner with Cam Newton on Friday night, and that is most likely why he is the second guy to test positive, and everybody else is coming back negative. They're following, stupid, but yeah, they're following protocol there. The Titans were the ones that scared everybody, because it's like, wow, look at how long this takes to, get into some people. Positives keep popping up. No, they were just having practices on a high school field against NFL protocol and giving it to each other. So now we know why this happened. So if people get it and teams follow protocol like the Patriots, you should probably be able to move forward. It's the Titans that blew everything, and they should be probably heavily punished at some point, and that's going to affect their season outlook.
Yeah, I totally agree. So we're going to have to monitor it like everyone else. This is new territory. No one's had to deal with this. It's hard to quantify, but we have it. The other thing that stood out to me, and I'll pass it to you if you have games that you want to talk about, most of the games in the 1 Eastern slot are pretty big favorites. We've got the Chiefs, they're sitting around 12. The Ravens are the same number. Cardinals a touchdown over the Jets. You've got the Steelers a touchdown. Like, these are pretty solid spreads in terms of size. Are you going to lay massive points? Is it a teaser week again? What do you think we do with these big numbers?
Why do these teaser weeks keep happening? I keep saying, like, maybe one in the first half of the season, one in the second half of the season. We're on week 5, and this might be like the third teaser week for me. But we keep getting teams like right at 7 that I like, and the only one that's really blown it for me so far was the Niners against the Eagles, and that one I got it when it was 6.5, 7, and ballooned all the way up to 9, and it came right back in my face and screwed me. But all the other ones are working, so it's such a public play, it's such a square play. But one of the first things I did this week was bet the Cardinals -6.5 before it moved to 7. why do you have to overthink it? Like, the Jets suck. They're 0-4 straight up. They're 0-4 against the spread. They're failing to cover by over 10 points per game.
They're awful.
Am I missing something? The Cardinals definitely are not the hyped up 2-0 team that we thought, which
Thank
is good
God.
for you and I. We thought that they, were not as good as that hyped up 2-0 team. And they're not. They lost 2 games they were favored in. But if you lose 2 in a row, is there a better bounce back spot than just getting the Jets?
No. The answer to that is no. And I'm not going to say it's a downgrade. I'm not going to say it's an upgrade either, though. Darnold is not playing, so Joe Flacco will be in there.
Meaningless to me.
Meaningless. I think it's probably a downgrade, but they were already just terrible. The Broncos showed that this team is headed for really, really bad for, number 1 pick territory. The Cardinals, as you talked about, Julian, I'm not high on them. I thought that game against Carolina was very tricky. I stayed away. The spread was begging you to take the Cardinals. We saw what happened there. This is not that. This is a talent discrepancy. So looking at OddsShopper, you see them sitting at a touchdown basically everywhere. I don't even mind laying a touchdown on the road in like this type of game feels awful. I wouldn't mind it. I have not played this game, but you can't back the Jets at this point. They're just clearly the worst team in the league.
So, yeah, the one thing is getting 6.5 was big for me because, getting a line that moves from 6.5 to 7 is a bigger deal than a line that moves from 7.5 to 9.5, just in terms of percentage wise of how many times teams cover. So it's a big move, but I'm not going to, just because I have the Cardinals win total under 7.5, it doesn't mean I'm going to not bet them in this game and be dumb and just root for the Jets, because that's not a realistic outcome. I'm still going to try and take advantage. So I have Arizona 6.5. And then I think that Arizona and Seattle would probably be my teaser this week. I don't believe in Minnesota. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins against good teams. Russell Wilson's going to light up that Minnesota secondary. That would probably be my go-to teaser. I think that the Steelers are also in a strong spot against the Eagles, but I haven't done anything there yet. The other ones like the Rams, it seems like they want you to take the Rams. I don't know. They were pretty close with the Giants last week. We don't know what the new quarterback situation is going to look like for Washington.
I'm not super sold on touching that game. You mentioned Kyle Allen is now in there. It's again, do I think the Rams are going to win? Obviously I do, but am I looking to kind of get a position on that? No. What I would rather do is, again, it's a divisional, like, I think the Ravens will be just fine. They're sitting at 12. I know you're not getting it under 3, but you can get them in the 4.5, 5 range. I think they just win that game at home pretty handily against a Bengals team that has some talent. But even though the Ravens have looked, I don't think they look like last year. They're still winning pretty comfortably against, inferior teams right now. And that's what the Bengals are to them. So I think Lamar at home, no problem if you want to include that in teasers. Just another option for you sitting at -12.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Obviously, Jackson, the only red flag is just Jackson not practicing.
They say it's
gotta make sure he's healthy.
Like they said it was like part stomach ache, part something else. And he should be fine. Obviously, if he's even remotely questionable,
right,
that's a different story. But from everything I've heard, it's as precautionary as it comes. So
I agree with you there.
So the other game I wanted to ask you, and then we can move on to the next batch and chat. A couple things. Chat, you guys know the drill. On Fridays, we hit the like button. If there's a game in the one that you want us to cover, there's not a lot here. Like I said, some big spreads. Talk to me, though, about, the Texans are one anomaly. The Falcons are just the other. They are just, everything about them frustrates me. They have basically run out of players in the secondary. Everybody is banged up on that team. 1.5 point favorites at home against the Panthers, who show some fight. God, I find myself interested in the Falcons in this spot, but it seems also like, why are we trying to target a team that is clearly in a free-for-all?
You can talk yourself into both sides of this game. Like, the Falcons had the awful start last year, and then they finished strong almost when it didn't matter. You would think with the talent, they have to turn it around at some point here. At the same time, Teddy Bridgewater is 18-4 against the spread as an underdog. Like he covers in these spots, which he looks great. And obviously this one opened at 3. So I kind of regret not taking the Panthers +3. If you bet it now, you'd probably just, 1.5, you'd probably just take the plus money on the money line.
Yeah.
This is probably a Panthers or nothing for me. It's probably going to be nothing because you never know what you're going to get here. But yeah, the Falcons secondary, like Bridgewater should be able to do something with that, even with the weapons he has in Carolina.
You would think. And yeah, I'm in a similar spot, except I'm on it's Falcons or pass for me, but it's probably a pass just because I really have a tough grasp on how good Carolina is. And the Falcons are just so hurt. I didn't even think they played that poorly against Green Bay. They just don't have the personnel. Like they just truly don't. And not that, when in the NFL, I feel like the worst thing, injuries are going to happen, but when it's the same position over and over like that, there's just no way to recover. So tough sell for them. It's a lost season in Atlanta. They've had their chances and they've blown, as we all know, a multitude of games already.
I mean, they've had back-to-back lost seasons by like week 5 or 6, which is tough.
Yeah, it's I don't like to call for people's firings because who the hell am I? But Dan Quinn, it's not great right now.
Quinn needs to be out. Gase needs to be out.
Well, Gase, I feel great calling for his firing. He needs to just be eliminated from the league. Like no job.
Until then, we can fade the Jets.
It's so bad. Chad just asked, and then we'll move on to the 4:00 games. Any 1 and 3 teams you're looking at playoff futures from? For me, there's not a lot there. The only team that I think has a pulse is actually 0-4, and it's the Texans, and it's a product of their division.
So, Dallas is 1 and 3.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, Dallas.
You wouldn't bet them at -160 or whatever to make the playoffs. You would bet them at -125 or whatever to win the division.
100%.
So there's Dallas. I'm just scrolling through right now.
There's not the Dolphins are a no for me. The Chargers are a no for me. The Vikings, I still don't think they can get in it. The Lions clearly not. Broncos, no. There's not that many teams that are sitting 1 and 3 that I think are actually talented.
Yeah, I'm probably with you. So I guess, so we don't know what Houston's division odds are, but let's say it's like in the 1,200, 1,300 range. Would you rather bet that, or would you rather bet them +600, 700 to make the playoffs?
Oh, no. For me, I would clearly target the division because I truly think that they need the Titans to possibly have a situation that's their best out.
But you still don't, so you don't think the Colts could, let's say the Titans completely unravel. You don't think the Colts could win the division and the Texans still steal one of those 3 wild cards instead of 2?
Certainly is that possible? Yes, because that's why the odds have a discrepancy. Right. I will say, though, when you just look at the AFC, you've got multiple teams in multiple divisions that have shown some, I'm just going to run through them really quick. We've got the Bills and the Patriots, I think both very viable. The Steelers, the Ravens, and the Browns, all I think very viable. We've mentioned the Titans and the Colts. And then you've got the Chiefs and the Raiders. There's a lot of teams up for grabs for those wild card spots. It's not like the NFC where I think it's a little clearer and maybe, just because of the product of the East. So that's where I would go with it, but we would need big odds on the Texans at this point.
Mm-hmm. That's why I really want a win total.
That would be interesting.
I would feel so comfortable betting like a win total there. I don't know if we're going to get it. I don't know what it's going to be, but that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, moving on to the 4:00 window. We've only got 3 games, so we can just run through them and then we'll keep it going. So first up, we've got the Dolphins going out to San Fran. They should be angry. They are, again, another big spread, sitting around 9-ish, 8.5 in some spots, which is why you shop those odds on OddsShopper. Then we've got the battle of the Titans here. We got the football Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. Also sitting, you can find the Giants at 9, the Cowboys at 8. Finally, we've got my Browns, even though they're really not my Browns. Competitive game. They're a slightest home dog, sitting around 1 point underdog to the Colts. I like these games. Is there anything that stuck out, though, on the betting side?
These ones didn't jump out that much to me. I think the Niners spread is too big, but I don't want to back Miami. What if I told you there was a team that is 0-4 against the spread that should be 0-4 straight up, and they were 9-point favorites this week? You would say to bet the other team, but I'm not going to bet the Giants.
That game is fascinating because
it is.
The Giants can't score. They've just been absolutely awful. They've put up 47 points in 4 games. 47
Browns
points.
Put up more than 47 points in Dallas last week.
And the Cowboys have also, A, that. B, the Cowboys have allowed 146 points in 4 games. Both of those are far and away the ends of the spectrum for the league. So this is weakness versus weakness. Something's got to give. Listen, I think the Cowboys get it done. I don't know how you back them, though. Just the way I'm not a fan of what Mike McCarthy's done. The defense is atrocious right now. And honestly, the Giants, they did look okay last week. They had actually a small window to steal a game against a solid Rams team.
Mm-hmm. So I will say I do believe in one thing here. I believe that Dallas's defense is actually this bad. I believe that the numbers that you look at when you look at Dallas's defense, they are that bad. So if you made me bet this game, I would, this is hard because it's half the amount of points they've scored on the season, but I would take the Giants team total over 22.5 because I believe in the spot. I think Jones can air it out against a defense that stinks. It's on the road. It's in Dallas, in a good building for points. The game script suggests they should trail and he should have to air it out rather than play conservative in a tighter game like it was against the Rams. I think my bet on this game would be the Giants team total.
I don't mind that at all. Also, I think Devontae Freeman is pretty serviceable in that backfield. He can give them some balance. Chat just pointed out, and they're 100% right. The Giants, listen, their offense is bad. They've also had a horrible stretch of who they've had to play in terms of defenses. They've faced the Steelers and the Rams and the Niners, some really tough ones in there. This is the easiest spot you could get. I don't even mind. You can look to some of those props, Freeman sitting at 47.5. If you think they can stay in the game, I think you could have some success on the ground. Not my favorite spot, but I'm with you. I think that's an interesting way to get exposure to this game. And you leave yourself a back door because there are scenarios where the Giants lose this game like 38-28. You don't cover, but you hit that team total.
Yeah, I think it just simplifies it. I purely want to fade the Dallas defense and say, you rattled off the defenses that the Giants have played against this one. Daniel Jones has shown in the past he can make throws. Like he should be able to do that. The Dallas defense, it's not like teams are going on these like methodical drives against them either. They are, but they're also ripping off just massive plays. So you can get points in bunches.
No doubt. Oh, there's no doubt about it. And listen, I don't want to be the ultimatum guy, but like if the Giants can't move the ball in this game, then they obviously have a problem with the offense that you have to take a serious look at what they're doing. It's tough. I don't mind that. So the one competitive game is right there on the screen with the Colts and the Browns. It's a 1-point spread. I would back Cleveland or nobody. I'm not a huge believer in Rivers and this Colts team. And listen, Cleveland, they got smacked in that first game. Since then, though, they've handled their business. They are 3-1. Do you have a feel on that game? And then I do want to get to my favorite player prop of the week is actually in this game.
Okay. I like everything about Indy except for Rivers. So like
it's the most important part. That's the most important part.
I think Cleveland could have some trouble with the defense, but Cleveland's been a relatively balanced team, other than that Baltimore blowout. So I'm with you. I think it's a Browns or nothing. But I'm not very confident in the side. I think it's a better player prop game. So let me hear what you got.
So it's actually interesting. I did say I kind of like the Browns in the game, and I do a little bit. But Kareem Hunt, who has gotten the boost with
I thought you were going
come down, but I'm actually not that interested because they have shown a propensity to use these other guys. He's 75.5 for rushing yards. I think he can be a major factor in the passing game, but specifically for rushing yards, I don't know if he eclipses that total. And Dearness Johnson got work last week. Dontrell Hilliard got a little work. Colts, top 10 in rushing yards allowed per attempt so far. They're actually 6th. I think that Kareem Hunt has some advantages in this game, but I do not see him rushing 25 times up the middle for 100 yards in a game like this. I actually think they utilize him a little differently. I lean under Kareem Hunt rushing yards this week.
Yeah, coming off a night where Ronald Jones killed so many of us on the under. Unders are scary when a guy is stepping into a role, no Fournette.
Yep.
There's Ronald Jones, no Chubb, and here's Hunt. But the number is inflated, and Hunt isn't a guy that, gets 20 carries. Like you said, they're going to work other guys in. He is a factor as a receiver, so I wouldn't play the combined yards.
Either would I
look to the rushing, like you said. So I'm with you there. I think it's a good way to, you can still Kareem Hunt's a cash play in DFS or whatever. You're going to have exposure to him if you're doing that. But in terms of the rushing prop, no, I would definitely not bet the over, and the under is a potential play.
Yeah, it's a thing. Again, it's honestly reminds me of what you said with the Giants, targeting that team total because you want to isolate Dallas's defense. This is the same situation. Like, I want to isolate Kareem Hunt on the ground against a tough defense. I don't think that it's impossible that he only gets 10 carries again. And he has 5-6 targets, and that's what they do. And they give another 10 carries amongst the other backs. If you're going to tell me he needs to average 8 yards a carry, I will take my chances. Obviously, if he has 10 touches.
Is that what he had last week, 10 carries?
He had, last week against the worst defense in the league, I believe he had 11 carries. Okay. Finished with, a nice total. But again, nothing that's going to blow the doors off. Dearness Johnson was heavily involved. Hilliard got some touches. I don't know why it would be any different. And keep in mind, in that game, they were leading. This is a much more competitive game. Potentially, they could be trailing. That's not going to help his cause. That'll help him in the targets, not the carries.
Right. Yeah, I don't mind it. And Chubb didn't get many carries before he got hurt in that game. What was it, 5 or 6?
Yeah,
digits.
It was Kareem. I thought we got a pretty fair assessment of how they want to use this backfield last week.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So that's where I'm going. The last game, and I thought you might. I don't know. I got to ask you, are you just a little gun shy about the Niners? I thought you might throw them in a teaser. They're sitting at 9. Or are you just a little afraid after last week? Or are you just not sold on this team because they're so banged up?
Yeah, it's the injuries. You could tease them to 2.5, I guess.
Yep.
Is attractive, gets them through some key numbers. The only time, pretty much every teaser that I've done this season has teased teams to a pick 'em. The only one that's gone to 2.5 was the Chiefs at the Chargers, and they won that game by 3 in overtime. So we got by the skin of our teeth. The difference here is that the Niners are home. They're getting a little bit more healthy. Having Kittle back obviously made a difference, even though they lost that game.
That guy is a monster. I tell you what.
Yep. It's tough. I mean, do I think would I tell you if you showed me a teaser and you had the Niners at 2.5? Would I tell you that's dumb? No, I think that's fine. I just don't think I'm going to bring myself to do it. I think I'm going to stick to the strongest spots. Do my one teaser of Arizona and Seattle to both win, which pays a lot better, I think, than a. If you have to buy the half point to 6.5 and it's -120, that is much better than moneyline parlays like -150 territory. So this is why you tease. Saves you 30 cents right there, pretty much.
Yeah, and it adds up over time. So no, I don't mind it. That is a team. I'm again. I think you summed it up nicely. If someone Chad, if you told me I like the Niners, I'm putting them in my teaser. I think that makes sense. I don't see them losing again at home. But I'm not running to the window. Miami is scrappy. I like them against Seattle last week, although they didn't get it done, I thought they played pretty well. It just didn't break their way. And Seattle's really good. As you talked about, you're already backing them. And that's a perfect transition. Normally, Chad, I'd say we only got a couple games left. We have a handful now because the Sunday night, Monday night, and now the rarest, maybe there was a time, Chad, feel free to point it out. I don't ever remember a Tuesday game ever. So this could be new territory. Like Tuesday is
I might be making this up. Was there like a Vikings Brett Favre one?
Tuesday?
Maybe something happened Monday night. I'm probably making it up. I just have some weird memory of that. But somebody in the chat can probably correct me.
Yeah, they know.
Our chat's tell me that I'm wrong.
Things. Tuesday's Maction night, college football usually. All right, so we've got Seattle and the Vikings Sunday night. Seattle sitting as a touchdown favorite. You've talked about that you like them, particularly with the teaser. You basically think they win the game at home.
Yeah, I haven't taken the 7. I've backed Arizona at 6.5. I'm so confident that the Jets stink. I'll go back in there with the teaser and just say Arizona wins. And then the team I paired him with is Seattle to beat Minnesota at home. Kirk Cousins stinks against good teams. Russell Wilson is good. The Vikings secondary is bad. Seattle's good in prime time. Seattle's good at home. It just feels like a good spot. Seattle games have been going over by like over 10 points per game, and their defense isn't that good. If there's a game that Kirk Cousins can air it out, I guess it's this one. Big total at 57. I'm staying away. As a lot of these big totals have been. It's still like an over or nothing for me. I'm not really betting unders on them. But yeah, I don't really have a take on the total. I know it's kind of a popular over. Seattle's going to win the game in my mind, so they're in the teaser. If you wanted me to bet anything on this game straight up, it would be probably buying the half point and playing Seattle minus 6.5.
Yeah, I would like to back the under. I have a little interest. I have not fired. I probably won't. I'm not backing this over. That's a lot of points, and I'm a big Dalvin Cook guy. I do think that he can control the game a little bit. Ultimately, Seattle is just probably too good. Cousins is the wild card. Certainly, he's found something. They sent off Diggs, who was fantastic. Jefferson is also fantastic, though. They found something there. I think everyone's
finally using him.
Yeah, that's step one would be using that guy because he can play. And the Vikings are a tough team. I know expectations were pretty high. Bad start. They win this game. They're back in it. That's a huge ask, though, and one that I ultimately do not think they can do. We've got the next game. We got the Chargers going into the Dome, but are they? Because the game might be moved to Indianapolis, apparently because of the hurricane. This slate, I've never...
Still going into a dome, then.
This is why we pay you the big bucks. 7.5 point favorite. I mean, another team that you've been really shorting the Saints. You've talked about the struggles early in the season with Breeze.
I was feeling really good about that Lions bet at the beginning of that one.
Talk about a weird game.
Yeah.
Lions started fast and it ended fast, but the Saints in the middle scored about 40 unanswered. What do you do here? So they like, listen, I get coaches get into tough spots. I think everybody knew. Anthony Lynn says that Tyrod Taylor will be back. And then what happens? Herbert looks good, and now he's never going to come back. It's Herbert's job, as it should be. Do you think that helps the Chargers, hurts the Chargers? Doesn't really change much.
I think it helps the Chargers. You know that I'm not a Herbert guy, but he's better than Tyrod Taylor. So
it's better than everybody except Josh Allen.
He's been solid. So this is a good thing for the Chargers. How good the Saints were against the Lions in that stretch discourages me. Like and the Chargers just looked good against the Bucs. This would be Chargers or pass for me, I guess, especially if it moves to neutral, but then they're going to void bets and shut the line down and it'll reopen under a touchdown. So I'm prepared up to Sunday night this week. And then we have a Monday night doubleheader now and a Tuesday game. And I feel unprepared for all three of those games. We'll still talk about them and give thoughts and leans and stuff, but like, none of them are safe. We don't know anything about the Patriots-Broncos game, like who's going to play an early Monday night game. We don't know where this Monday night game is going to be yet. Tuesday night football, who knows anything about Tuesday night football? Like, next week's going to be weird.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, these games, you have to have contingency plans because some of the spreads are off the board for obvious reasons, and we just don't know. Like the Titans, we were talking before the show, the Titans and the Patriots this morning, no positive tests. Everything looked good. They're on track to play, but we still have some questions about like exactly who will be playing. Will tests popped up? I want to say also, chat, we appreciate this. Julian, you were spot on. Brett Favre Tuesday night showdown in 2010 when he played for the Vikings because of snowfall.
Remember this.
There you go. I don't remember. I can barely remember the game last night, so I certainly don't remember the 2010 Vikings. Chad is asking, are there player props out? So if you go to OddsShopper and you go to the player prop section, you can certainly browse it. Unfortunately, right now, and I get it, some of the books are waiting a little bit because of all the moving parts. So we have a couple lines up in terms of rushing and receptions and things like that. It's just hard because, Julian, as you've talked about a ton, the best time to look at player props is when you have all those different options. With only like one book up right now, you might want to wait and see if you get a better line at, whether it's DraftKings or, one of the many books that haven't posted just yet.
And also there's still, seeing the final injury reports on Friday is a big deal. Like, I don't bet Sunday player props until Saturday morning to Sunday morning is like my range to get in on those.
Kareem Hunt is the only player prop that I just bet that immediately because there's nothing that could happen, in my opinion, that would change what the Browns want to do. I think it's secure. My narrative is going to be intact. Doesn't mean I'm going to be right, but I'm going to get my chance. And so I backed him shorting his rushing yards.
The only reason to wait, I guess, is because the perception is that Hunt is going to get all this work because of Chubb. Maybe people bet it up for you and you can get a lower number on Sunday.
Very true. And you know what? That's a situation too. If it starts to rise, I may bet, like, you don't have to bet your, say you want to bet a unit on that, you bet 3/4 of it and you save a quarter. And if it rises, you unload that. Like, you can wait, you can mix and match. I just don't want a situation where a lot of times, and you've talked about this, they don't move the number, they just move the actual VIG. And I don't want to be laying like minus 170 on this under. I would rather have them honestly move the line. I don't know if that'll happen though.
Yeah, I hate when you think something's going to move from like 44.5 yards to 47.5 yards and it doesn't. They just move it to minus 150, minus 160, minus 170, and then there's just nothing to do there.
Yeah, that's incredibly frustrating, and that is why having options via OddsShopper is so important. The other important thing is that, chat, we talk about often, is that you become a member of the community. Awesemo Plus, if you want to join, we have packages from weekly to monthly to annually. You just go to awesemo.com/join, find the package that's best for you. That's my favorite thing about this site. You don't have, if you want to play just NFL, more power to you. You want to play just golf, that's what you should be doing. You come on in, you get what's the best package for you, and same with the duration. Platinum, you get everything, you save some money, and we have sports and content for basically everything at this point. It's just amazing, and we're adding stuff on the betting side. Tools like OddsShopper, many more coming. College football, I'll be doing a show tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. with Matt Gajeski, breaking all that down. So we have a lot going on here, and we'd love for you guys to get in Slack and have some fun. Moving on, we got, a little time left, and I do want to ask you, Julian, about survivor pools. Last week was not a lot of waves. I think that the Niners got some people with the Eagles. Some people did go there, but ultimately the Rams and the Ravens were where if you wanted a safety pick, that's where you went. Now, looking at this week, it's a lot of big spreads, but they're big name teams. Would you burn a team like the Chiefs or the Ravens, or would you be a little more aggressive and try to save some big names for later?
So I've been good with survivor pools from week 2 on. I would have been out of everything in week 1 because I'm not actually in any, but I would have been out in week 1 because I would have played the Colts.
So yeah, absolutely. I'm with you.
So like the Rams were my call last week, and that worked out. I still would have both the Ravens and Chiefs alive, which is nice, and I would want to keep them alive for as long as possible. I'm definitely, if you're looking at it in terms of big spreads, I'm definitely not using the Cowboys because they, like I said, if you told me, oh, I have a great team to use this week in Survivor, they're 0-4 against the spread, they're 1-3 straight up, and their only win was because of an onside kick at home against the Falcons, I would say you probably shouldn't bank on that team to win. So I think that you want to go, it's kind of a good week to get the Cardinals. When are you going to take the Cardinals? They still have all those, they still have the Rams twice, the Seahawks twice, the Niners again. And you just fade the Jets and take them. But the Chiefs are going to win. The Ravens are going to win.
Yes.
Everybody's probably going to move on there. But I would be fine taking the Cardinals this week.
So I have a free article, Survivor Breakdown, that really gets into these type of matchups. Totally free. Go check that out. I am with you. I'll say this. I think that the Cowboys are so bad that it's actually interesting to get rid of them. And you may get burned and lose. But I honestly think that at home against the Giants is maybe the best spot, similar to the Cardinals. I have no problem getting rid of the Cardinals, but these are two teams that I don't want any part of. I'd like to get rid of them. So I don't mind it. It feels gross and you're taking more risk. If you don't want to take the risk, you burn the Ravens or the Chiefs. But keep in mind, if you're in a large pool, you need those teams later in the year. It would really help to have gotten rid of teams like the Cardinals and the Cowboys, in my opinion.
I think I just feel the Cardinals, and it's a road team versus a home team, and the spread is larger and the Cowboys won. I still think the Cardinals are safer than the.
It's because the Jets are that bad. The Jets are worse than the Giants. I think that's pretty clear.
Yep, I agree.
What a sad. If they combined, I honestly don't even know if they would be even remotely good still.
Probably not.
Like you still wouldn't. You'd have Daniel Jones at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like who would even? It would just be really just the Giants with like two extra players because I don't even know who you're taking from the Jets team that would be qualifying as bad.
Probably a couple linemen. Crowder.
Not Herndon. I can tell you that much. Nope.
Yeah, I don't know.
What a sad situation. Certainly not the coach. You're not going to take Gase. No.
I wish I took that Jets win total under. That was dumb. It's at,
under
at 3 now, but at least I have the Giants. I do have the Giants under 6.5. My 4. Well, I'll do a 2-second recap of my 4 big preseason bets. The 4 ones that I did big. We're split down the middle right now. Giants under 6.5 wins looks fantastic. Seahawks minus 120 to make the playoffs looks fantastic. Then Raiders under 7.5 wins is going to be a sweat. Bears to miss the playoffs looks gross because they're 4-1 and they still suck.
You want gross? I'm not going to do a recap of mine because I'm dead on arrival. All mine are Broncos positions, which are straight coffined. There is no hope there, but the Bills are looking pretty good so far, and that's what I also really need. They've been good. Josh Allen looks great. Very happy about that. Final thing, two things. One, we're going to get to an upset special. We'll see if we have any hot takes. I do want to say, chat, we appreciate you stopping in Friday mornings. If you're looking for a golfer, because we're in the middle of the round and they're getting underway for Friday, Ricky Fowler, who I backed at the beginning of the tournament, yesterday, he shot 4 under. Not great, not terrible. He hit it in the water for a double, and he bogeyed the gimme par 5. That was a 7 or 8 under round that he let slip away. If you want to buy low, I think Ricky goes out early today. He could post a huge number in a good way. I don't mind that if you want to get on board. Of course, keep in mind it's golf, but there's going to be some movement in this leaderboard. I don't think Bryson is just going to win wire to wire, even though he is fantastic.
I'm going to go back to the NFL for 1 second because our lock of the week is now in some hot water because Adam Schefter tweeted that a presumptive positive player test today sent everybody home from Jets practice. I really want the Cardinals to play the Jets on Sunday.
I bet you do. Yeah, that's not. This is what I'm saying, Chad. And
stinks.
it's the theme of the show, though. If you are betting this week, you have to be ready and prepared to deviate. You need a game plan, but you need contingency plans because all it takes is one pop-up, one COVID situation. Everything changes. It's a domino effect. Teasers are going to be affected. Time slots are going to be affected. Player props are going to be affected. This is not a set it and forget it week. You really need to be cognizant of what's going on.
Yep.
Hammer Lakers -6. Okay. You're probably right, Chad. They probably do win. Ricky's sitting God, I tell you what, just to bounce around here, Ricky is 50-1 on FanDuel right now to win this tournament. That is very appealing. It's a long golf tournament, 54 holes left for these guys. I don't hate it. If I had to give an upset, I'm going to say that the Eagles could go into Pittsburgh and win. Wow. I thought it was pretty impressive last week what they did. Do I expect them to do that? No, but they've got the talent and they've got the grit, and I'm not overly sold on the Steelers just yet, considering they didn't play last week. There's not a lot out there though for live dogs, in my opinion.
Right. So if in terms of confidence, and it's a slim one, I would say the Panthers beat the Falcons. But
yeah,
that game is almost
very reasonable.
Almost a pick 'em. That's technically a dog. If you want to look at one of these big ones, give me the Giants, I guess.
Yeah, I figured you were going to go there, and like they're playing a team that could easily be 0-4. So, I don't mind that. If the Cowboys
it's two 0-4 teams squaring off. Dallas has more talent and is at home, and they should win.
Yeah,
but the Giants could win. They could definitely win that game.
They really could, and maybe we'll roll some round robins in there. But I don't see a ton. I don't think that the football team can get it done. I'd be shocked if the Raiders won. I'd be shocked if the Bengals won. And honestly, I'd be pretty shocked if the Vikings won. I'm not going to lie. I really don't see that happening. So on that note, chat, you see our Twitter handles there. Give us a follow. Julian's putting out plays. I know we didn't talk a little baseball. I know he's been firing on some first fives. I saw the Dodgers last night.
MLB is one of the things that is going well right now.
Yeah, it's been going well, which is why you should give him a follow. You should give me a follow because I'm the one that suggested following him. So it's just good karma. And, we got some good things happening. Don't go anywhere, though. Josh Engelman, Ship My Money are going to be breaking down the NBA Finals Game 5 tonight. Probably the last one of the season, not going to lie. So stay tuned. We have shows all day on the Awesemo network. Subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know when we are going live. Chat, we appreciate you. Good luck this week. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning for college football.